I remember whenever I was starting the Call of Dragons journey, like 2 years ago, how hard it was for me to understand some aspects of the game, and that's the reason of this video, right? We should never forget about our beginners, and from my own experience, I know the artifacts have been the toughest part of Call of Dragons whenever I started the game because it was hard to get, it was hard to understand what kind of artifacts were important and which artifacts, when I was getting them, should I be happy or not, right? So for the beginners or even for some experienced players who want to understand more about artifacts, throughout my 2 years of gameplay, I will try my best to explain the artifacts which we can get from the normal pools, because beginners and all the players, I think, generally have a lot of artifacts from here, right? I will try my best to explain every single artifact from this section, because yeah, you should know when you are getting legendary artifact, you should be happy or not, right? So hopefully this video will be interesting for you. If it will be, press like, subscribe, share, and let's dive in right now, right? First of all, I want to speak about epic artifacts, right? Because when you start the game, generally you won't gonna have a lot of legendary artifacts. Even if you're gonna have at least one, I'm pretty sure you are happy already, right? So your first choices will be the epic artifacts, right? So one by one, I will try my best to tell you in terms of epic artifacts and troop types which one will be great, right? For the mage players, I think there is a couple of obvious choices. If you are mage player, you are running Wellin, you are running Lilia, Waldir, Tandalin, like it like depends where you are at the game, but especially during the beginning, Magic Bomb is a lesser version of Phoenix Eye, right? Imagine that the legendary artifact, which is a Phoenix Eye, which is an amazing artifact, it's like half of the power, kinda same, but the epic artifact, right? In terms of other epic artifacts, I think Magic Bomb for mage players is really good, and if you are getting this, you are already really happy, right? And of course, you are looking forward to getting legendary one, and hopefully you will get there, right? So for the infantry, there is like one choice, that's the Butcher's Blade, right? Unfortunately, we don't have defensive infantry artifacts, which ones I rate higher than the offensive ones, but yeah, it is what it is, right? It's epic one. Infantry unit attack, legion attack. You won't gonna be tanky, but at least you will have something to actually equip your at least one infantry hero pair, right? So Butcher's Blade, nice choice. Not the best one, but at least something whenever you are getting the start of the game, right? For the archers, well, Heart Piercer is quite good, especially because you are actually applying defense break, and defense break is amazing for archers in my opinion. So if you are archer player playing with Kinara, Nico, Gwenwyn, Craig, and so on, I think Heart Piercer should be the choice as a beginner. If you get Heart Piercer, you should be happy. And it will be good enough until you're gonna get legendary artifacts, right? What's left? Of course, there is left cavalry. We have one choice here, which is more defensive cavalry artifact, which can be worked, which can be equipped, but it won't gonna have like highest impact, but at least it's something, right? Which is Centaur's Bow, and there is another one which should be here, if yeah, I guess the Centaur's Bow is like the one artifact for cavalry epic section. Unfortunately, we are not having offensive ones, which is quite surprising, right? Longsguard Bow is artifact for Gwenwyn, so like actually if you are playing Gwenwyn, you can actually get it and it will be fine, right? So like this is like small tips and small guides in terms of epic artifacts, because when you start the game, especially for the beginners, it is really hard to understand what to equip and where, and also, yeah, Spirit Bangle, also pretty cool, right? So I like hopefully after watching this video, it will be easier for the beginners to understand which epic artifacts will be fine to equip and which not, right? So let's start with the legendary ones, right? For the legendary ones, I won't gonna go for the troop types. I will just try my best to explain them one by one. So let's dive in. Deathless Vine is the first artifact. This is really good because I rate infantry artifacts which are defensive higher than offensive ones, because I think as an infantry player your main idea should be as tanky as possible, because that's the idea of infantry in general, right? We have infantry unit defense, legion defense, we have pretty cool skill, Ancient Entanglement, which is basically immobilizing 3 enemy legions, which is really good, right? Especially during wars. I'm pretty sure this skill will have high impact, and you will have a lot of positive feedback from your alliance members if you are going to use it, right? For the heroes where you can use this artifact will be Garwood, in my opinion, for the start. Garwood Eliana, Garwood Musian, Garwood Madeline will be the hero pairs, and plus Garwood got buffed. There is no garrison skill anymore there. There is actually HP buff, and Garwood and Deathless Vines, pretty good. If you're gonna get it, even if you are not infantry player, I think you will be pretty happy regarding this artifact, right? Control infantry PvP, good enough. The next one, which is Mad Goblin's Boom, that's the gathering artifact. Basically, at first when I started the game, we haven't had a lot of gathering artifacts. Finally, we got them pretty a lot actually. You want your gathering artifacts to have gathering speed because that's the most important attribute, and for the skill of this Mad Goblin's Boom, basically you will explode the resource node which you are farming, and your hero pair will be teleported to your town, right? So it's pretty cool whenever you want to destroy the node and you want to teleport your alliance member there. That's pretty cool to use, and yeah, it's a gathering artifact which can be used kinda in a utility style if the node is distracting your alliance member's territory, right? So that's the Mad Goblin's Boom. I'm not saying be super happy when you get it, but that's fine. Like, as of course you want to have almost every single gathering artifact in the game, right? A Manastone Hunter is the next one, right? At first you might say, yeah, yet again, not a PvP artifact, but let's not forget that cavalry players love to have synced up speed, and not only even that, this artifact is pretty amazing, and I will explain why, right? Let's imagine you are just starting the fight, you know that you're gonna have a big war, and around the behemoth layers there is not a good PvP mana stone, right? You will equip this artifact to any hero pair in the game, you will cast a skill, and there is a chance that you're gonna get PvP mana stone, even legendary one, right? I can recall myself getting level 5 HP mana stones, attack mana stones, which has a high impact, right? Even though it doesn't say that it's a PvP mana stone, it actually affects your PvP gameplay. So I think if you're gonna like acquire Manastone Hunter into your pocket, you should be happy because at some point you will have impact from this artifact, which is pretty cool, right? Let's move on. Springbird Feather, another like utility artifact. This artifact is great for basically cavalry players if you want to have 5 marches synced up speed, which means every single 5 of your marchers will have same march speed. That's when you can actually use this artifact, right? Legion March Speed, Legion HP, and also the skill Legion grants your Legion and 10 surrounding friendly legions haste, right? So basically, if you are a cavalry player, you want to have this artifact. I'm not gonna say be super happy if you get it, because you want to have like more offensive ones at first, but still good one to have if you are a cavalry player. If you are not, unfortunately, it's pretty useless, right? So let's move on to the next one. Storm Arrows, right? Cavalry mobility artifact, which has a lot of use, right? Cavalry unit attack, Legion attack, and what's the most important about Storm Arrows is the blink, right? Immediately teleports the Legion to the circle, the range is 15, and you are getting rampage, right? So let me tell you why this artifact is great. You can teleport from the river to river, you can teleport from the hill to the back, so basically you can teleport with your cavalry troops, even with your infantry troops, anywhere in the map. What's the most important is you're gonna have like 50 teleport range. If you are not exceeding that range, you will be teleporting on the troops, on the enemy lines, on the tower. So basically one of the most utility style artifact, which gonna give you a lot of merits, especially if you love to kill farmers, right? If you want to go to the backline to your enemy, this artifact will be really useful. So if you are cavalry or infantry player, be happy, because if you're gonna acquire this artifact, you will have a lot of fun, and plus you will get a lot of merits, right? Let's move on. Kingslayer finally some PvP artifact for our cavalry players, which is, I think, one of the best PvP cavalry artifacts out of here. So if you are getting Kingslayer, you should be super, super happy, right? Cavalry unit attack, legion attack, skill is nice because you're gonna execute enemies. Target legions belonging to other lords with less than 10% units, the remaining will be immediately defeated, right? So if your enemy has 10% troops in their legion and you will use this skill, they will, like, it will basically execute them, so they will be gone, right? So that's the beauty of Kingslayer, that's why it's the PvP artifact. And yes, I believe this is the best cavalry PvP artifact from here which you can actually get. So if you're gonna get this artifact for your account and your cavalry player, you should be super, super happy, right? So usages are Emrys, Bakshi, Theodore, like Urag, Tobin, so basically every single cavalry hero pair and hero can use Kingslayer. So let's go next. Phoenix Eye, right? Phoenix Eye is the artifact which I believe is the best artifact for mage players, open field PvP in terms of damage dealing, right? Like, I believe if you are mage player and you are getting Phoenix Eye, you should be super happy. This is one of my first artifacts which I have ever gotten in this account out of my 2 years of gameplay, and since the day one I have used this artifact really, really well, right? Magic unit attack, legion attack, skill is pretty basic. You're gonna deal damage to 5 enemy legions who will be in this circle, so just damage dealing the artifact. That's all you actually need for your mage players, right? For the heroes, you will be able to use Phoenix Eye on every single magic hero. Waldir, Wellin, Atheus, Thea, Lilia, Thundolin, Bertrand, like every single magic hero you're gonna tell me, you will be able to use Phoenix Eye. So if you're gonna acquire Phoenix Eye, you should be super, super happy. Let's move on. Fang of Ashkari, right? I think I said about like a lot of artifacts already that they are all-arounder, but Fang of Ashkari, basically you can equip Fang of Ashkari on every single hero in the game. It's a defensive artifact, the Legion defense on a bow stats, which is pretty good for its own use, and I think like skill is nothing really important. You are just dealing small damage, which is basically physical and then magic, right? So if you're gonna get Fang of Ashkari, you shouldn't be excited about the skill, just be excited about defensive stats, because I think defensive stats are more good for infantry, especially because for my own experience, I have used the Fang of Ashkari on my infantry, on my Garwoods, because I don't have Deathless Vine, right? So if you're gonna get Fang of Ashkari, don't get too excited. It's not super amazing, but throughout your Call of Dragons gameplay, I'm pretty sure you will have a lot of usage with the Fang of Ashkari, mainly I think for infantry heroes, right? If you don't have other infantry artifacts which are even better, I think Fang of Ashkari will be pretty good choice, especially for the beginners, right? Shadowblades, right? Finally, we have the Archer's artifact, we have the PvP Assault artifact. Basically, I think Shadowblades and the Phoenix Eye is kinda same, just Shadowblades is for Archers, right? We are dealing damage to 5 enemies on this designated line, basically. It's a offensive artifact, so if you are Archer player, and I am Archer player, if you are getting Shadowblades, you are super happy, right? You are excited, you are saying that you made the correct choice by being Archer main, so basically for Archers, I think this is one of the best artifacts if you want to get legendary one, and yeah, you can equip Shadowblades basically to every single Archer hero and Archer hero pair. It won't gonna do something special, it's just pure damage and pure offensive stats, right? So that's like Shadowblades, it's pretty easy to understand. You're gonna acquire it, you will be super happy. The next one which we are seeing is Sorland's Blade. That's the Cavalry's artifact. Some players actually rate Sorland's Blade higher than Kingslayer because of the march speed. They can actually sync up better with Sorland's Blade in their 5 cavalry march. But I believe if you are just beginner, you like my main idea about Sorland's Blade is that it's a little bit weaker than Kingslayer, but if you don't have Kingslayer and you got Sorland's Blade and you are cavalry player, you should be kinda happy, right? Because at least you have legendary artifact for your favorite troop type and you will be playing with them in the open field. The skill is pretty kinda same as Kingslayer, but instead of execute, we have march speed increased 20%, which is nice for cavalry players. So usages for Sorland's Blades, I believe every single cavalry hero like Emrys, Bakshi, depending on your synced up Cavs 5 legions, but if you are just playing with Emrys and Bakshi, I think Sorland's Blade on Emrys and Bakshi is totally fine and it will work, right? The next artifact, which is Tiara of Arbon, first defensive artifact for mage players, magic unit defense, legion defense. Well, at first, you might say Phoenix Eye is better, I agree, but later stages of the game, when you want to have second hero pair for your mage troop type, you want to have a Tiara of Arbon, right? Of course, you won't gonna get too much damage, but if you're gonna believe me, merits you are not getting merits in Call of Dragons by dealing a lot of damage. You are getting merits in Call of Dragons by surviving a fight in a longer time period, and slowly you are getting more and more merits. So basically, there is a lot of usage of Tiara of Arbon in this game, mainly for Magroth and Zaida hero pairs, where you absolutely want to have heals. But other than that, I think Tiara of Arbon's usage is you have Phoenix Eye, you want to make another hero pair, you don't have a legendary artifact magic, you got Tiara of Arbon, alright, now I can build my second hero pair for mage troop type, right? That's the idea of Tiara of Arbon. Plus, if you are running multiple marchers, the healing and open field PvP, I rate highly, and so this is totally survivability support artifact, which will be useful if you are playing with multiple marches, right? So that's the Tiara of Arbon. Kurrata's Wrath, one of the worst artifacts here. I don't really rate peacekeeping and peacekeeping damage. Basically, peacekeeping damage means that we're gonna deal more damage to Darklings. So, I don't know why we care about peacekeeping damage. Maybe you, when you start the game and you get Kurrata's Wrath, I think you should be really, really angry. This is, one of the worst choices which you can get, and basically you don't want, peacekeeping damage, because if you're gonna equip this artifact and you're gonna go fight against real players, this peacekeeping damage won't gonna apply, only legion attack. And even the skill, you are getting peacekeeping damage increase, which is non-existent for PvP, right? So I don't know why you should be happy getting Kurrata's Wrath, basically, but we still have to mention that this is one of the worst ones, for beginners, for veterans, or anybody in the game, right? The next artifact, which is String of Silence, the offensive artifact for infantry players. I already said that I rate defensive artifacts for infantries even more than offensive ones, because whenever I equip the offensive artifacts to infantry, they are just dying super fast and we are not even getting any merit. So the whole idea of infantry is getting lost. So basically, if you are infantry player and you got Spring of Silence, I believe you prefer even Fang of Ashkari to this. So you shouldn't really be super excited. Maybe at the start of the game and you don't have any legendary artifacts, it's better than a lot of Kurrata's Rust and Ancient of Roots and stuff, but still I believe not impressive artifact. Maybe when more offensive infantry hero pairs will come out, these artifacts will have their ways, but for now I think defensive infantry artifacts are way better. Lucia's Horn, another gathering artifact. I believe, especially during beginning, you want to get all the gathering artifacts, and yeah, you should be happy regarding this artifact because it will help you to gather resources even faster, which is great idea, right? Because during the beginning, I'm pretty sure you will want to have more and more resources, and of course during the PvP time, resources means that you're gonna heal your troops and you will fight more. Let's not speak about too much about Lucia's Horn. It's good artifact. If you're gonna get it, be happy, right? Ancient Tree of Roots, another one. I think these two artifacts are in a kinda same scenarios, right? Same way. If you're gonna get it, nice. If you already have it and you are getting copy of it, you don't want that to happen, but still I think you want to get the artifacts for gathering, which are legendary ones, right? Breath of the Forest and Bloodblade Banner. One is for the Garrison Army attack, and second one is Rally Army attack. Well, basically, if you are free-to-play low spender, you don't want these artifacts. Even if you are veteran and too much spender, I think you will be fine even without them, right? So basically, if you are not tier 5, you won't gonna be a rally army leader, and you won't gonna be garrison leader for your alliance, right? So basically, if you are tier 5, you might raid these artifacts, but yeah, as I said, for beginners, Breath of the Forest and Blood Blade Banner is kinda useless, right? That's why if you're gonna acquire them, you should not be really happy, but maybe in the end game, you will find ways to actually get these artifacts and use them, but I'm pretty I don't know if it will happen, right? The next artifact, which is Heart of Kamasi, Archer's defensive artifact, marksman unit defense, legion defense. You might say you should not be happy about Heart of Kamasi, but like as an experienced archer main who played as an archer main for 2 years, I believe this is one of the best archer artifacts in terms of like skills. Alright, defensive stats fine, but as I said, surviving fights are great. But let me introduce you with 30% physical attack and 30% normal attack damage. This is huge, right? I play support gameplay as an archer player. I have Indecent Ara. I equip Indecent Ara Heart of Kamasi, and whenever this artifact is using this skill, my Magroten, Zaida, and Kinara and Nigo is dealing a lot more damage than normal, right? So if you are archer player, you should be super happy about this artifact, and plus, more levels you're gonna get, better it will be, right? For the start, it has 15% and 50%, but on the maximum, 30% and 30%, which is huge, right? So basically one of the best archer artifacts out of here, if you know how to play as an archer, right? Staff of the Prophet, one of the most fun artifacts. You can teleport you and your ally members to a circle, basically from a long distance. You can use it during the war. You can attack enemies from the back, from the side. You can teleport near the Behemoth layer. So basically for your alliance, I think if you're gonna have at least one Staff of the Prophet, you should be happy because you will participate with your alliance members PvP gameplays, and that's what matters, right? That's why artifacts are in the game. They should have a lot of impact in open field PvP. Wolf Woman of Halor, right? The artifact for cavalry players, utility style, which will give you a lot of merits, because the idea of this artifact is that you're gonna equip this to the Emrys or Bakshi, for example. You will teleport near the enemy line, you will start hitting your enemy, and automatically after 15 seconds, this artifact will teleport you back, which means you will survive, right? Whenever you're gonna teleport, you will have 15% more damage. So basically, just teleport in, deal damage, and automatically teleport back. That's the idea of this artifact, and pretty good for cavalry players. Actually, if you're gonna acquire this artifact, then you are ready for the war gameplays and fights. You should be happy, mainly for cavs, because I think this is great for cavalries which are dealing damage in a short period of time, pretty high damage, right? The last artifact which we're gonna speak is Dragonrift, another offensive infantry artifact. I will repeat, I don't rate infantry artifacts which are offensive. I think defensive infantry artifacts are way better. So if you're gonna acquire Dragonrift, I think you shouldn't be really happy. Maybe you will use it for the like more of a PvE against Darklings, but for the open field PvP against real players, I would suggest you to get more defensive with the stats and with the skill itself, right? So basically, I tried my best to explain every single artifact which you're gonna get, especially when you are starting the game. So you will be more ready and more equipped whenever you are like getting new legendary artifact, or where to actually use those artifacts in open field PvP, or what kind of heroes, right? Yep, as I said, I had the most awkward moment when I started the game during the like 2 years ago regarding artifacts. I had no idea about the artifacts, which one was good, which ones I should equip where. So this video came from myself, and hopefully there is some people who want to see this kind of videos. And of course, if you guys like the video, press like, subscribe, share. It will give me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.